And I still believe that these problems can be solved.
I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
This is the Political Show.
Hey, and welcome to the Political Show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you know you can call me Gigs, and with me in studio we've got
Gavin Ensslin.
Pastor Gavin Ensslin. Now this week is going to be, like we said last week, quite an interesting, hectic, and is there a word such as angry?
No, we're Christians, we're not angry.
Yeah. Well, it's a very sensitive topic. If I can say, yes, I think it's a very sensitive topic, and we're speaking about the movies Cuties on Netflix. Yeah, do you want to give a brief description of what the show is going to be about?
Obviously, Cuties, that's a thing that was put up on Netflix, and basically the first picture that they put it up with had these little girls, like 11, 12-year-old girls. And if you look at the poses that they were carrying, you know, what you'd have to say is it looked almost like they were pole dancing, if you know what I'm saying. So they were overly sexual. And then there was an outcry over that, so they changed the picture with them standing in the street. But that basically, that's what the movie's about. So it's full on about sexualizing children and stuff like that. What I would say is, obviously for many people it's shocking, but if you've been a student of the Bible and you're a student, for example, of Romans chapter 1, Romans chapter 1 talks about the fact that it starts out where people deny God. And the moment they deny God, God gives them over to their lustful pleasures. And then they start doing all sorts of things that gets worse and worse, eventually to the place where it actually says they get given over to a depraved mind. Depraved means that it's like wretched, it's like terrible. Eventually it gets so bad that they praise those who do evil and they slander those who do good. So if you look at that, the progression that we've gone, you know, from the sexual revolution through to the whole homosexual revolution, transgender, and now, pedophilia, the Bible says this is what will happen. It's how the Roman Empire fell, and this is what's happening to Western civilization at the moment. And so it's not really shocking. It's actually biblical, and the Bible has predicted it.
Yeah. That is what we're going to be speaking about. It's going to be an interesting show as always, so keep listening. Remember, I'm your girl Cynthia, but you know you can call me Gigs, and with me in studio we've got
Gavin Ensslin.
Pastor Gavin Ensslin, right here on the Political Show on Active FM, where radio has never been better and Christ politics is
flippin' hot politics.
Yes, where radio has never been better.
The wait is over.
Hold on tight. We are in the overdrive.
Welcome. This is your favorite station. Stay tuned.
Turn up the volume. The volume.
3, 2, 1. Just wanna see the light.
Let's go.
Active FM.
Now, Cuties is a 2020 French, they call it coming of age comedy drama.
Yeah, you're coming of age at 11, 12 years of age.
So they call it a coming of age comedy
Maybe
drama.
age doesn't mean to them what it means to us, you know. Age is the amount of time that has passed since you were born.
Yes.
For us.
Yes.
Maybe for them it's something else.
It's deciding, isn't it? They're trying to bring this whole
Maybe
age
for them it's coming of eyesight.
Yeah, coming of age, whatever that means. But I'm sure the movie show can define that better. Coming of age comedy
Yes.
drama. Yeah.
Because this is the rubbish that comes from their show, actually.
Right? Anyway, so it was directed by a French director. I can't pronounce. I'll try and pronounce the name. Maimoana Ducour. I'm gonna call her
Yeah,
MD.
MD.
Yes, it was directed by MD.
It's directed by a medical doctor. No wonder it's such a mess, this movie.
But it was directed by MD in her feature directorial debut.
What a debut.
Yeah, no, it's a hectic
You
one.
debut
I don't
something
know.
like this.
And I don't think she has kids, because to direct something like this, someone who doesn't have kids. But anyway, there are film stars Fatima Yusuf, Esther. They have very weird surnames. I live in South Africa and there's people with weird surnames, but these are hectic surnames. But anyway, it's young girls. The plot revolves around a traditional Senegalese Muslim girl who is caught between two contrasting sides, traditional values and internet culture. I feel like that is important, internet culture. And we've been speaking about social media and all of these things. So internet culture, while also discussing hypersexualization of pre-adolescent girls. Now, the film premiered in the World Cinema Dramatic Competition section of the 2020
You see, that's
Film
a
Festival.
dramatic competition film festival. In other words, we're saying it's art.
That's what they're saying.
So sexually abused young girls, and it's art.
Yeah. That was on the 23rd of January, and
I'm
she
going to
actually
rip them.
won for
They-
this film. She won
No, I have to
directing
interrupt
award.
you here. They're saying it's art, and we're going to rip them apart.
Oh. That is art. That is art.
That is art, not little girls gyrating. That is not art.
No. But she actually won, believe it or not, directing award for
No,
that
I
competition.
can, because they're promoting that lifestyle.
Yeah. And it was released in France on the 19th of August by BAC Films and is set to be released internationally on the 9th of September on Netflix.
That's like next
basically-
week.
Yeah, next week. So a whole lot of people are actually finding this movie controversial and are saying that you can't promote a movie like this. You can't bring out a movie like this.
Can
And
I disagree with you?
It's a kids' movie.
What do you mean finding this movie controversial?
There's
I'm
actually
sorry.
an article that says that.
I'm sorry. I grew up
Okay.
in the age of feminism.
Yeah.
Okay? So people like yourself.
Yes. Females.
And we're not just the object.
Ish.
So now you take these little girls and that you're turning them into strippers.
Yeah.
And this is art. And now you get awards. That's not controversial. All right? Controversial means people can have differing opinions on this. Even the people who for this know what they're doing is evil.
Yeah.
Okay? And a lot of the people who are doing stuff like this, you'd have some fruitcakes out there that would put their own daughters into a movie like this. But even most of the people who would make a movie like this would not put their own daughter in a movie like this.
Yeah.
Now, there are some fruitcakes. But people intrinsically know you don't want your 11, 12-year-old daughter or your 10-year-old daughter acting on a movie as a stripper for the whole world to watch her.
No, that is true.
And then you call it coming of age.
I mean, I have a sister that is 14 years old, and if she had to tell me that I'm coming of age, I would, being her older sister, I don't know what I would do, but I would.
The thing is, you see, what's happening is they're normalizing this thing where children are sex objects.
Yeah.
And that is child abuse. That is not controversial. You call that child abuse.
Yeah.
So what we're
that
saying
makes
is now we're
sense.
making art out of child abuse.
Sure.
You know, before you're making art out of pornography. You're making art out of homosexuality. Now it's child abuse. And the next thing they're going to be making art out of sleeping. I'm telling you, watch. In the next 10, 20 years, they're going to be making art out of sleeping with dogs and horses and all sorts of things like that. Then you're going to have lesbians sleeping with a cow. Because if they were straight, they'd be sleeping with a bull.
That's hectic, my pastor. It's very hectic. Yeah, so, okay. So the article basically says that it's controversial. But we
But
don't believe that.
No. I'm freaking out about. What do you mean controversial?
And,
Controversial is opinions.
yeah. We obviously know that there's...
You're saying
there's
it's
a
okay.
story.
You're saying, it's just your opinion.
No, it's not okay.
No.
At all.
You the article.
Well, I'm the article.
I'm fighting
at this
with you now.
moment.
You're the article.
So He's fighting with me because I'm the article at
Yes.
this moment. But
Come on, get with the program.
so now the French film has been blasted for sexualizing girls, and a petition to have it prevented from dropping on Netflix fetched 20,000 signatures in one day. But
How many of them stop paying for Netflix?
Stop paying for Netflix?
Yeah.
None of them.
You have to listen. These people do not understand anything
Yeah.
except money.
Yes.
And so, if you're going to take a stand, you got to can Netflix.
Yes. That's what
Netflix has become Notflix.
Netflix. Because I mean, Netflix
Maybe we should
is
start a hashtag
hashtag Netflix.
from Netflix to Notflix.
Netflix to Netflix. I feel like one day, well, no, I'm not going to speak it into being, so I'm not going to say it. But I want to say it. One day, if you don't hear from us, you must know that either the Chinese, Netflix, or the cabal, the whole entire cabal, was listening to a political show and decided to eliminate or arrest myself and Pastor Gav.
Well, we should be arrested because this isn't even a political issue.
Yeah, no, this isn't.
I mean, people would call it a political issue, but
It
this
does,
is not a. This
it
is
does go into politics a little bit because the politicians know about
in
these
no.
things.
Our standards have gotten so rotten
Yeah,
that now we call this politics. The issue at the end of the day, when I was growing up, all of these liberal people
Yeah.
were always about protecting the children.
yes,
The only thing they're protecting the children from now is the Bible.
that is true. Yeah.
And that's not protecting them. That's sending them straight to hell. I mean, at the end of the day, how do you claim to be protecting children when you put them on a feature film as a bunch of strippers? Coming of age. So what? Every young girl is going to grow up to be a stripper.
And they're-
what the hell are
I
you
mean,
saying?
they're going to watch that, and I mean, when I was young, I used to watch things like High School Musical and these dancing
And wedding movies.
And I would want to become a dancer, knowing that I can't dance because I was watching a movie.
Or wedding.
Wedding,
A
yes.
bride
You start
coming down the
thinking
aisle.
about. But now they're going to be watching movies where it's cool to be a stripper. It's cool to be walking around with bras and thingies on top of your clothes and all of these things. And that's what they're going to start doing. And that will be a problem because now you won't be able to speak to the kids because this is what they're seeing and this is what they find cool. And if they're not fitting in, because at that age, you really want to fit in, you want to do what the other kids are doing. And Netflix has become so popular. And I don't think that Netflix is going to bring this movie down because there are 4 things like this. When the LGBT community was now fighting to be put in movies and all of these things, Netflix was one of the platforms that actually promoted these things, and that's when the whole thing with the gay Jesus came out. And
They don't care.
And people, they had petitions and all of these things, and they still didn't bring down those movies. And now they're doing the same thing with Cuties. And there's also another movie called Swiped in Netflix that has kids, sexualizing kids and stuff like that. And they don't show you in your face, but it's there in the movie and stuff. So now what we're going to do in the next section, we're going to actually hear from people because we have our opinions, right? We don't think it's right, but do other people think it's right? Do they think, no, it's just a movie, let them watch and stuff? So that's what we're going to be doing in the next segment. Like I said, this is a political show right here on Active FM. Radio has never been better, and Christ Politics is hot politics. We're going to be singing a song from Active Worship called
Inception.
Inception.
Leaning in close from the beginning, in pursuit of who you made me to be. I have a new reality. Let the anointing pour out as my praise goes forth. We're going back to the start. You are holy. You are holy. You are holy, Jesus.
Reactive. Being reactive is being a people of reaction, people of change, being a movement of young people. It's not just a band, it's not just good music or inspiring words, it's not just catchy, it's life-changing.
I have chosen you. With passion I pursue and cling to you. You're my all, you're my all, you're my all.
You can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
I definitely believe that we need to go back to the inception, to the beginning.
To the original.
Yes, how things are supposed to be in terms of families and what we're watching.
And little girls and pole dancers stripping. It's
Should
not the
happen.
inception.
Yes, should not happen.
That is the going back to the deception.
Deception. That is a serious deception. So now we're going to be listening to what people say. And so I don't know if you want to hear what they say first, or do you want to...
I haven't heard them.
Yeah, do you want to speak and then
No,
listen and then speak? Okay.
No, we said we're going to respond to them. So.
Yes.
So I heard about this movie Cuties, where they've got 12-year-old strippers. Just the concept of having a 12-year-old strip is beyond preposterous. It doesn't make any sense for a parent to even allow their kids to act as strippers. For me, it encourages pedophilia. If I think about it, it actually just encourages pedophilia. And 12-year-olds today, already, just with social media, don't behave like we did when we were 12. We're still playing with Barbie dolls. These kids know how to slay makeup and all sorts of things, and they're telling you about their boyfriends, and it's already hectic enough. But when we're encouraging behavior like this, we're looking at a world where in a few years' time we're going to have adults who have been severely damaged because they didn't actually have a childhood. Do you know what I mean? Sexualizing a kid. When did this become something that our world accepts? And why is it that Netflix has it and Netflix hasn't been thrashed left, right, and center over it?
Look, based on that, I believe it's the end times. I mean, who would want to put together a movie like that and actually pass it that actually make a movie like that? It shows you the depravity of the world we're in and how bad and how far we've fallen to get to where we've gotten to. So yeah, it really is terrible times, and to believe something like that, I would have told you 10 years ago and you'd think I'm talking rubbish. And so these are the things which society is accepting, and it's scary to believe that our children will be growing up like that. And you have to protect our children now from stuff like that. It's even more scary to think of that concept or that thought. Yeah.
It is a sad development if such things happen, because we need to catch them young and then actually mold them in godly ways. Otherwise, it's so sad we are bringing iniquity in our generation, the young generations. Godlessness, iniquity simply means godlessness. There's no element of godliness in a person when there's iniquity, and it breeds or comes from lust, where man is saying is independent of God. So it's sad development. It shouldn't be allowed to take that route. In fact, it must actually be stopped. Yeah, my name is Apostle Charles Chijande.
I've also brought Calvin here into the studio.
Yeah.
Just keep it short, Calvin. Keep it short. What is your comment
just the concept of stripping on its own. I know growing up, I'm not that old, but 10 years ago, growing up, stripping on its own it was wrong. Now to have kids doing that, I'm thinking next thing we're gonna have kids with guns, kids with knives, and that's gonna be seen as a right thing. But now if you think about it, now in South Africa we have a lot of kids who grow up with their grands, because the mom is not around or the father. So now you're putting that grand in danger. You know what I mean? Because if now the kid wants to have a gun or a knife and then she shouts at the kid or anything like that, you don't know what might happen. Already in South Africa, we've had cases of kids killing it's either their moms or their grands. So now to have, I'm already thinking about my little sister with Kim Kardashian only. I'm fighting with her already. Just with Kim Kardashian, I have to fight with her how she dresses, what she thinks, because she just wants to be Kim Kardashian. But now if she's going to see a movie like this, it's going to take it to a whole nother level where I don't think even my parents will have control. Because we know a lot of girls in South Africa to run away from their homes if they don't get what they want. So it's actually dangerous to air something like this, not just for South Africa, but I believe every country.
So that's what people have to say. So obviously no one is agreeing with the fact that they're airing something like Cuties on Netflix. Yeah. So do you want to respond to the...
Look, this is the plan of the enemy. I mean, if children are being taught at that age to be strippers, you're totally and utterly destroying their purpose. And if you think about something like this, what is a woman supposed to be? Now, I know many people would find this controversial, but the ultimate thing for a woman is to be a mother. The ultimate thing for a man is to be a father. And that has now been put down, within society. Now you need to have a career, you need to have this, you need to be selfish. But the thing is, when you're a mother or a father, you have influence.
Yeah.
People look up to you. There's a massive shortage of it. I believe you'll be well cared for in your old age.
Yeah.
There are so many benefits to being a parent. Yes, it's a lot of work, but the benefits that comes about, when you've raised these kids, is absolutely and utterly indescribable. And yeah, you've got these things coming along now, which if a girl at 11, 12 is thought to be a stripper, if she's abused, you've stripped her of that thing called motherhood.
Mm.
And the funny thing is, many women would hate that concept at 18 or 20 because these modern women. But the reality is, what I've seen with my generation is when they get into their 30s, all of a sudden you'll hear the saying, my body clock is ticking. In other words, there are no times running out for them to have a child, but they have this desire to have a child. And you take away something incredible when you take mother. Now, to finish off, if you take the promise of the Bible to Sarah, the wife of Abraham. So Abraham gets given the title, you'll be the father of many nations. Sarah's is equal, except she's the mother of many nations. She's not Sarah, the wife of Abraham.
Yeah.
In her own right, she is the mother of many nations.
Mm.
The mother meaning that there's men and women in those nations. That's the promise of God. Except for heaven and salvation, your family and being a father or mother of nations is the greatest blessing God can give you.
Yeah.
It gives you influence, gives you power,
yeah.
And it makes you far more productive, and it gives you the blessed life of all blessed lives. So all of this is being stripped away. The very essence of who people are is being attacked.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is it. Like I say, this is going to be quite an intense show. And I hope when you're listening to this, you actually now don't feel like I should go watch this movie, because going to watch this movie will actually bring up the views, and they're going to think that, okay, it's okay to watch it, but it's something that we can't stop one person, but if enough people listen or enough people do something about this, then it can be stopped eventually. Yeah.
The Muslims, they have an aim to get 15% of the students in the school to be Muslim. Because if they have 15% of the students in the school that are Muslim, and it's a private school, they can control that school.
Sure.
Because they just threatened to withdraw 15% of the students, and no school will be able to make their budgets
Sure.
if they lose 15% of their income.
Sure.
And that is a target.
Yeah.
They aim to have 15% of the students in the school, and then they begin to force, their wishes and their desires based on we're going to withdraw our cash.
Hmm.
So imagine if 15% of the Netflixers
Decided not to.
No, just said we're going to withdraw unless you take all of this content off.
Yeah.
And you give them an ultimatum.
Hmm.
And then 1 month suddenly 15 or even 30% of the income's gone. They will listen to you.
Yeah.
They will never mess with the church again.
Exactly.
But the church has to stand up for righteousness.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So
Come on, man, stand up.
This is Active FM, where radio has never been better.
Hi, this is Pastor Mike Sadie from Hillsong Church in Pretoria, and you're listening to Active FM, where Christ's music is hot music.
Romans 1 verse 28 to 32 says, since they thought it foolish to acknowledge God, he abandoned them to their foolish thinking and let them do things that should never be done. Their lives became full of every kind of wickedness, sin, greed, hate, envy, murder, quarreling, deception, malicious behavior, and gossip. They are backstabbers, haters of God, insolent, proud, and boastful. They invent new ways of sinning, and they disobey their parents. They refuse to understand, break their promises, are heartless, and have no mercy. They know God's justice requires that those who do these things deserve to die, yet they do them anyway. Worse yet, they encourage others to do them too.
Okay, so there's a battle going on now in California, in America. There's a pastor named John MacArthur. He actually took the California government to court to stop them from harassing, their church. Mm. So they've been winning the court cases. So they're forcing the California government to step back. Guess what the California government's done now in the last day or two?
What have they done?
Well, might have been a little bit earlier, might have been Tuesday this week. They sent them a notification that near where their church is, there's a parking garage that they rent for all the people to come and park for the services. And so what happened was that parking garage is owned by the council. They given them a notification they've cancelled their lease at the end of the month. And then there's another church that they're confiscating the church property from the church. So, in other words, you've got a government there that is decidedly anti-Christ. Mm. That's the reality.
Yeah.
The more people get into sin, the more they hate the gospel, the more they hate the church. And they hate the gospel and they hate the church and they hate the Christian because they actually hate Jesus. And why do they hate Jesus? Because they're being controlled by the enemy.
Yeah.
You think about communists. Okay, communists go flat out to destroy the church. You think about Muslims. They go flat out to destroy the church. Right now in India, the Hindus are going flat out to destroy the church. If you look at just secularists, they go flat out to destroy the church. Why? Because Jesus said, the people of the world will hate you because they hated me first. And then he said, but be of good cheer, for I've overcome the world, even though you'll have many troubles in the world.
Yeah.
If you look at what's going on in the world now, people who've been with me for a while in the ministry know that I've predicted that we'd get to where we are now. Mm. And it's going to get a whole lot worse. And you can protect yourself and your family by the blood of Jesus, and you need to get saved.
Yeah.
Because what this is giving us a picture of it's just giving us a weak picture of what an eternity in hell would look like.
Yeah.
Where it's just backstabbers, betrayers, and people that do the most gruesome and terrible things.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying. So there we have. We need to come back to Jesus. He can save us from our sin. And we can see in the world around us the incredible result. Now, the other thing that I've noticed, as California's gone evil and gone anti-church, that they've also gotten more poor.
Mm.
They've got homeless problems. Yeah. And I'm telling you now, there's a curse on that place because they've gone away from God.
Yeah.
And you see it in the poverty of the people. People come and they're looking for lightning economic. There's no lightning economic crashes. It's just if you move away from God, the reality is you're consigning yourself to poverty.
Yeah.
And that's just the bottom line.
Yes.
And that's even if you have a lot of money. You're actually poor because you're poor in spirit. And if you're poor in spirit, what is inside will come out, and it will eventually be reflected in your bank account. And so you need to come back to Jesus, because He's the source of all life, He's the source of all provision, and He's the source of all blessing.
Yeah. Amen. And that's it. That's that. You can catch our shows on www.activefm.co.za. You can also catch us on Google Podcasts and on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. So get downloading the shows there. And you can also get us on WhatsApp. So we are 084. If you international, it's +2784 505 1166. Or you can go onto Instagram at ActiveFM777. Our WhatsApp number will be there. So you can comment on Instagram, you can comment on WhatsApp, and you can comment on Facebook /ActiveFM. We're also on Twitter at ActiveFM and on Parler at ActiveFM. So get downloading, get chatting, let us know your thoughts. And like I said, this is the political show where Christ politics is hot politics. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you know you can call me Gix. And with me in studio we've got
Gavin Ensler.
Pastor Gavin Ensler right here on Active FM Radio.
Has never been better.
Has never been better. And we had
Calvin Malinga.
I didn't speak about him the whole show, and he was a guest in our show. Sure, it's hectic. We're not used
welcome,
to
Calvin, just before we finish.
Yes, welcome, and
welcome, and
say
goodbye.
something quickly before we...
Oh, yes. No, this is hot politics for real.
Yes, hot politics. And you want to introduce the last song? It's by Gear Brazil called...
Living for Love.
Living for Love by Gear Brazil.
Goodbye.
Active FM. Radio has never been better.